Surviving Sister Wives contains adult content that may not be suitable for Latter-day Saints or sinners. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello and welcome to Surviving Sister Wives.
I'm Corey.
And I'm Carly, and today we are talking about Sister Wives Season 19, Episode 10, A Man After My Own Heart.
Is that David that we're talking about? In reference to Christine, most likely. That's probably what this is about, right?
This is the big proposal episode that no one saw coming.
It's been building and building and building.
Or maybe this is about Cody and Meri. I feel like I said the Renaissance was over last episode, but I think it's only just starting for Cody.
I feel like Cody is way behind on the Renaissance storyline. Yes, he had no idea. And now it's hitting full force.
Wouldn't that be the best arc to see them get back together in season 20 or 21?
Where Cody's trying to leave Robin to get back with Meri. Because
producers make it happen.
Everything that's wrong with these relationships is because of Robin. Cody's going to realize that in just a couple of seasons. Another X-Files level prediction from the Surviving Sister Wives pod.
Oh, we're putting that down in the official predictions book?
Sure, why not?
I feel good about it.
It's out there. It's in the universe now. So in 4 seasons, we'll be able to come back and take a look. But the TLC description for this one is Christine and David's relationship continues at light speed when they go off-roading in Moab and David gets down on one knee. Ysabel is in tears over fears of losing her dad. Meri asks Cody to help her move to Parowan.
You already moved, Meri.
Don't you already live there? Meri, I feel like I've helped you move to Parowan like 8 times.
I feel like we've watched her move there multiple times. Also, the irony of a moving episode. We have Christine and David moving into their new house. We have Meri talking about moving. It's given me flashbacks to season 14.
Double moving. A move for everyone, and then some. Moves are moving.
You know we're going to have to watch the Shira Chateau move as well.
Yep, that's going to be in the coming seasons as well in a few years. Cody's always got his moving gloves and moving denims at the ready.
I'm pretty excited about this description, I'm not going to lie.
Okay, yeah, let's hear the Carly episode rewrite for this one.
Meri quickly transitions from recruiting new wives to recruiting free labor. Ysabel anticipates her deadbeat dad's reaction to David's involvement in her life. We're all left wondering, what does the sexy grandpa do?
He gets down on one knee in Moab, I guess.
Usually 2.
Well, yeah, a couple. Still sticking with the down on all fours. It's something that happens.
Well, you want to jump right into that then? Well, not.
Whoa.
Hey,
whoa. Carly, we're recording.
We didn't have any X-rated. We didn't have any X-rated footage. Thank God.
Yeah, I don't think so.
It has been moving in that direction. There wasn't as much making out between David and Christine in this episode.
I guess I'm just confused why Christine and David haven't started an OnlyFans at this point.
Oh my God.
Is that the content we're waiting for? I don't know if I'd be able to subscribe to it, though. I don't think I'd be able to. I would have to have everyone else tell me what's going on.
I feel like that's a natural evolution, though, of this new Christine that we're seeing.
New adventures with old Christine.
Ditch the MLMs. We're going for OnlyFans now.
You could do those still as an MLM. Aren't there people that get together, they do those like sex toy parties? That's a real thing, too.
Yes, there are MLMs around that.
Yeah.
You can sell anything in an MLM.
It's true. Yeah, you can get in anybody's downline if you try hard enough, I guess.
It's all starting to sound,
well,
rather X-rated.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, we got to be careful here. Forgot to mention where the Bible verse comes from this one, since we're talking about all these sex toys.
Is that what brought you back to the Bible verse?
Yes, because it's from Acts 13:22. Didn't say what kind of acts, I guess. They didn't specify.
There's a part of the Bible called Acts?
Acts. A-C-T-S, not acts. Like, so I married an axe murderer.
I definitely heard axe.
Yeah, acts. I don't always punctuate the T because it's hard to do that. I don't have the diction for that all the time.
All right, tell us about Acts.
Here, it's also in Samuel 13:14, if you'd rather go that route. There's 2 spots in the Bible that it talks about that.
Well, what does it mean? Enlighten us.
what does it mean? No, it's just that's where the reference comes from, is after removing Saul, not that Saul, different Saul, he made David their king. God testified concerning him, I have found David, son of Jesse, a man after my own heart. He will do everything I want him to do. God likes blind obedience.
Well,
just like Cody.
That doesn't sound like Cody, though, as far as
the voice?
Being willing, no.
Oh, sorry.
Being willing to do everything that he's asked to do.
Well, no, but he's expecting everyone else to be willing to do what he wants to do.
I was trying not to put Cody in the position of power, but...
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think he usually places himself mentally in the position of power. Just like all those conversations with Gabe where he was yelling at him that he's not the head of the family. I don't think Cody was the head of the family at that time either, because we were just kind of rudderless, meandering aimlessly through COVID. Maybe the nanny was the head of the family at one point.
The chiropractor that was giving them all of the instructions for how to handle COVID.
Freeze their credit cards in a block of ice, not credit-wise, even though probably they should have done the credit.
That is a good piece of advice for Robin, though.
Yeah. Leave your mail in the freezer.
You know, a broken clock is right twice a day. Speaking of, we got a McKelty and Tony scene right out the gate.
Yep. Christine and David are on grandbaby duty, and they are heading over to Tony and McKelty's.
Is it just me, or did Christine seem really disappointed in how the meeting between Cody and David went?
Was she expecting a fist fight? Did she want more drama? I think she was relieved because it was Gwen's engagement party, that it wasn't a big, huge scene.
Was it Gwen's engagement party, though? Because it seems like no one remembered that.
I feel like...
Puddle Monkey didn't.
Yeah, Christine had to remind us that that's what we were originally there for.
It was a tattoo party.
Became a couple of other different things, and the focus really shifted on to David and Cody meeting for the first time.
We didn't even get like a proper introduction of Bia. We had to meet Tony. We had to meet Mitch. We had to meet Caleb. Why didn't we get to meet her?
Does Bia just not want to film regularly? And so it's just as part of the group things and the stuff that's going on with the family events, sure. But we don't have any aside interviews or anything like that with Bia, right?
I don't know. At this point, I'm just chalking it up to Puddle Monkey only wanting to film David and Cody.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's a limiting of the experience or from that production side, or if it is because there wasn't a willingness to contribute.
I do think that I remember Gwen saying on her Patreon that she didn't really want to let them film. She didn't want to really film anything that had to do with her wedding. And then it was a great disappointment for this one thing that she kind of caved on to have turned into just being some drummed up interaction between David and Cody.
Well, I think that then puts you in the spot where, you know, moving forward, okay, we're not going to do that then, because that's what this is going to devolve into, is just what's Cody's reaction to being around David then at this big event that's happening.
Yeah, I'm feeling conflicted about it because at one point it's like, okay, is that Puddle Monkey's fault? But then also these are people who have free will and it's their own behavior that's being shown on camera. So could you have just handled the situation a little bit differently so that it wasn't so interesting to show?
Was it that interesting
Maybe just
to show?
a nice acknowledging wave across the room.
A head nod out of respect.
Just move on from there.
But remember to nod down, not nod up. Don't do that. It can be seen as a threat to some dinosaurs if you lift your head up. It's a challenge. But nothing really too out of the ordinary here for this first segment. It's Tony and McKelty are going on a date because it's important to have dates.
Taking Robin's advice.
We know. Yeah, we get it.
Got a healthy marriage there.
That's what's happening. And this is just a showcase for David to illustrate he's also a super grandpa because he's super dad in comparison to Cody. And he's also a better grandpa. Look, he's coming over. He's watching the kids. So Tony and McKelty can have dates. Cody would never do that.
That is the subtext.
I think Christine is always in the comparison standpoint when it comes to David and Cody. And she's kind of stuck in that.
I don't know if she's not over Cody yet. I feel like in the last episode when she was leaning her head on David's shoulder, staring Cody in the eyes, that it felt a little heavy-handed. It felt like she was trying to get a reaction, which why do you care at this point? You've moved on. You found somebody who you love more deeply than you ever loved him, in your own words.
I think Christine's just been reading this Mouse Bride book with a little bit too. I think something got stuck in there where then that was just bouncing around. That became her goal too. Whatever this book was that she was reading to Avalon about a mouse bride.
What do you think the reading of that went like? Oma has never walked down the aisle before.
Oma needs to find a form-fitting dress. Are you going to help with that?
This all turns into a conversation about Christine, though, and how she is basically a pro babysitter. She pretty much ran her own daycare when she was taking care of all the kids. And it was like she had twins herself. She's here taking care of McKelty's twins, but she's been there, she's done that, because she had to raise both Gwen and Gabe together when Janelle went back to work.
And that was leaving Meri trying to figure out PTO requests because she didn't want to tell anybody that she was living polygamy. So she was trying to come up with all these excuses and reasons for why she needed to take time off.
Why is she such a bad liar? That's what this comes down to.
To us or to the people at the trophy shop, her employers?
Well, now that I'm thinking about it, Meri has been a bad liar throughout the entire series of this show.
It's true. Yeah. Very obvious.
She seemed to really struggle with the fact that you don't exactly know when a baby is going to be due, when they're going to come. So how do you tell someone you need to take time off, but you don't really know when it's going to be? Tell them that you have a family member who is getting an operation and that you're not sure when it's going to be scheduled yet, but that you're going to need to be there to help them in recovery. See, I'm a good liar.
It's a medical procedure, And so then that way, that puts it under HIPAA protections.
You can't ask any more questions.
Yeah, your boss cannot ask you for details. You don't need to give those reasons. It's your paid time off. You can use that any way you see fit. Know your workers' rights, Meri.
She just didn't want to help.
I think that was the bigger problem. Yes, she did not want to take time off work and be at the house any more than she needed to be.
I did like that we're talking about the origin of the twin thing, though, because we've been talking about the triplets ever since Rora came into the picture. And this just proves that makes literally no sense. And it was something forced upon them by Robin to make her feel included.
Yeah, so Christine is resetting the timeline for us to establish it's just Gwen and Gabe. They're the twins. There's no triplets. Sorry, Rora. You're on your own.
You got the boot. I guess I'm glad we got this instead of having to watch more House Hunters 2.0 because they got right to the chase.
At least the house hunt is over. That is a small victory for all of us that we can bask in for this episode. Because, yeah, Christine is going to give us the highlights, the overview again about how ridiculously fast this relationship with David is going. She did sprinkle in the one other thing that we had a question mark about was how long was she chatting with him online before they met in person? 2 months. That was it. She hadn't met him yet.
I'm going to defend, though. I do feel like that's a good amount of time to talk to somebody before you actually take the step of meeting in person.
Depends on how much you're talking, too. Because for her to say, we've already known each other for 2 months, I don't know if that's an accurate representation of getting to know someone necessarily. So I think she's still putting way too much weight into that amount of time because what are those exchanges looking like? If you're just sexting for 2 months, Christine, if we're being honest.
I was going to say, I think it went full catfish.
if it depends on what you're talking about.
She's
and how
sending
much
banana pics. We're going to see those come out one day.
How much information are you actually learning about this other person?
All of the erogenous zones.
Aside from...
That's what she learned over those 2 months.
The size of certain body parts.
Oh, did we miss the part? They found a perfect house.
Yeah, they're moving in together and they purchased a home.
Now they're on to shopping for hot tubs.
That is a priority, yeah.
I wouldn't have guessed that was on the list, that it was date, talk about getting engaged, go ring shopping, buy a house. Oh, I missed venue shopping, get a wedding dress, but somewhere in there, shopping for hot tubs as well.
Well, these are just the projects that come up as part of the ways to make the house their own. And it's this partnership that Christine is still not used to from her relationship with Cody. So this is all very new to her. Anytime she has a project or a suggestion, David just takes that and runs with it. He's a doer.
I think we need a David.
Who, we do?
Yeah, we do. We've been living in this house for 2 years. We can't pick a paint color.
I'm doing things, but it's just, specific projects that I'm able to take on.
I need to tell David, I want to redo the backyard and just have him run with it. Show me the plans. Show me everything you picked out, and I'll just approve it.
She's just going to show him pictures of Robin's backyard from Vegas. I want it to look like this.
But better.
But better this time around.
More expensive.
Because Christine got her own backyard overhaul in Vegas right before they moved to Flagstaff. Just in time to go ahead and put that house on the market and sink all that money into
really
the remodel.
Enjoy it.
Yeah, really nailed it. Got it all taken care of. Christine is a little too excited to be moving in at this rate, too, because she keeps laughing about how they haven't even known each other that long. And it's so silly and crazy.
I do think she's kind of laughing to hide the nervousness and the anxiety.
I think it's scary, yeah, and terrifying to be moving in with someone that quickly and to be purchasing a home together.
I don't think that that's the part that scares her.
No, I don't think it is either. I think she's just afraid of, she's never lived full time with a man before. What is that going to be like?
She's losing a little bit of the autonomy that Chanel loves so much, the independence.
Yeah.
What if all he does is sit in the corner on his phone in a chair all the time? What if you wake up and he's just not there in the morning?
That could happen. That could be a thing. You don't know yet. You're not in that situation. You can't say for sure. I think we've seen her get like this where it's the over giddiness to things to suppress a lot of her actual emotions about things, though.
I have to tell you, that's the thing that's been irritating me about Christine this season is she's back to that inauthentic version of herself where she's overly excited about things, but to the point where it seems like it's not genuine.
We have a keep sweet Christine back in the equation.
We did not like her. We got rid of her.
Yeah.
We felt so good about that. She was exorcised from Christine.
Single Christine was awesome. She was kicking ass. She was taking names. And then now we've kind of fallen back into, I think that's the issue that I've had of jumping back in on a relationship without really deconstructing what happened in that relationship. If you just bulldoze over all those feelings, you don't want to navigate that. You don't want to explore that or analyze that in any way. And then you just jump right into the next thing. You're going to revert back to a lot of your usual safe responses that you've always had.
I'm not sure if it has to do with a lack of deconstruction or if it's just an immense amount of immaturity.
Yeah, because I feel like she doesn't even know that this is happening. She doesn't realize that that's an issue.
Yeah, it's giving early 20s, this is me in a relationship, and I'm a totally different person when I'm not in a relationship.
And that's scary, too, because then, yeah, you're kind of tailor-fitting your personality to mesh with someone else at the cost of your own self.
Or, yeah, maybe it could just be that David has expressed that he likes the fun-loving, bubbly part of Christine, and that's the only part that she's showing right now, because it is a few months into a relationship.
The point that I did feel a little bit better about her relationship with David was it's part of this conversation that's happening where she was showing Ysabel the new house. They're moving in together. Ysabel hasn't seen this house, so she's taking her around. It's weird for Ysabel. She's called that out. She's pointed this out. This is very fast, the relationship that's going on with David. But you do you, boo. You're going to do it anyway. I understand that. Go on ahead.
I hate that.
I hate it too. And we've talked about that in previous episodes as well. Christine talking about her fear of living with a man full time and how she was telling this story to Ysabel that she was telling David that she was nervous about moving in together. And then David had to kind of pull that information out of her. He had to coax it out of what is it that you're nervous about, because she was brushing it aside and minimizing and just glossing over that as, oh, it's no big deal. So I think that was the one glimmer that I saw where if David is able to sense that something is off, and he is able to get that information out of Christine and draw that from her, I feel like that is a good ability to have in that relationship.
That is a big difference from Cody, because I feel like Cody would have taken that as a free pass.
Yes.
If you're not going to tell me what the problem is, then I'm not going to ask too much because I can't be bothered. Everyone comes to me with all their problems. I am not the one who's able to fix them all.
I am
So
not
if you're
accountant.
I am not accountant.
Emotional accountant.
So if you're not going to express it, better for me.
Yeah. But then Cody's also the one who's confused when all of these emotions come pouring out that she's bottled up for 30 years. So you can't do both. You can't have it both ways, I don't think.
I think all the kids are kind of a little caught off guard also by Christine taking this step with David so soon, because she was, I don't know that it was like super religious.
Janelle said it was.
Yeah, I guess.
Pointing out the differences between old Christine and new Christine.
I feel like old Christine had a fixation with being the good girl. She's got a taste of being the bad girl.
Oh,
she likes that.
Look out.
Our freaky bitch is like, I'm embracing this. All those years of being so uptight, time to let loose.
I thought it was funny too. Yeah, of seeing the older ways of her experiencing things, the religious lens that she was viewing everything through, and now with that gone. But that's where I'm confused, is then she is still kind of reverting to a lot of those keep sweet methods, because I think that's all she knows. That's what she's used to. That's how you navigate relationships.
That is what feels like maybe we need to take a step back. We need to go back to therapy. We need to work through, now we're actually in a relationship with the person who really values us and who we want to have a long-term future with. And that we're starting to repeat these old patterns of behavior that were unhealthy for us. Maybe we work through that before we get married.
There's a couple of things that we could probably work on. And it's scary to do that. And I get it. And probably don't want to pick at that thread. We don't want to go down that route. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of reevaluating. It's a lot of processing. But I feel like that would have been way better suited than what she's doing now, where she's kind of still building the parachute as she's jumped out of the plane already.
I don't want to miss that we got our first mention of Garrison this season.
And it was such a great memory, too, about how religiously zealous Christine was, where Garrison had said the F word and he was sent to his room without dinner. It was probably the fish tacos. What was it? Maybe could have been.
What a meal to miss out on.
What a meal to miss. So the kids had to sneak him food like he was in prison or something.
I did like Janelle telling that story. Just there was a lot of joy and fondness in it as she was telling it. So I hope that we get to see more of that. But I know there's been a lot of questions about, are they editing around Garrison purposely? Like, what's been going on? We haven't seen him yet.
Well, we saw some footage of him, too. I think it was in one of the flashbacks when Meri was holding, I think it was baby Saul or Ari. I think it was baby Saul.
Yeah, there was a lot of baby footage in this episode.
Baby footage, of Meri interacting, and a lot of old stuff, flashback stuff. But Garrison was standing next to her while she was holding baby Saul for that, too. So I thought that was nice to see as well.
The rest of this scene, really hard to watch, because Christine continues to bulldoze over Ysabel's feelings as far as the speed of which we're moving. But then she finally does share something a little deeper than that, which is this fear that David is going to take Cody's place.
The fear that's there. And I think that Christine was interpreting it as David coming in to replace Cody. But I think Ysabel wasn't able to fully express maybe what she meant about that concern. Was in another light, it seems like if Cody looks in on this new relationship of, oh, Ysabel has a new dad in David, so hands off, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
That's it. You're an adult now, and you have another dad, and that's the betrayal for Cody to then cut off contact with Ysabel and Truly.
To be honest, I don't know that she has fully gotten to the point of understanding that that's the root of the concern.
Yeah, I don't think that they're there yet. Oh, even Ysabel. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think Ysabel's trying to express what it is she's feeling, but I don't know that she even really fully understands what the fear is, because Cody is a vindictive person. Cody is a person who wants loyalty, blind loyalty from people. And so if you then are going to embrace David as a new member of your family, ironically, in the way that Cody wanted you to embrace Robin, is he going to take that as his escape route?
He's going to stop trying. Yeah, he's going to go hands off even more than he already was.
And these kids have experienced this before with watching Robin come into the family and watch Rora de Mirana's bio dad get pushed out of the picture.
And then you always have that comparison point because Ysabel sees that David is a good present father for his children. And that kind of just adds to her issues that she's having where she doesn't have that with her biological father. So by comparison, this was what Christine's main issue was every time they would go to Robin's house, you would see the man, the husband, the father that Cody could be, but is not actively being for you in your household and your children. He's capable of it. He's doing it with Robin. Why can't we get that version of Cody as well?
This just enrages me because there's so many people who come to Christine's defense around her moving on, that, you know, she's an older woman. She's had all of this time to process the failure of her first marriage, that she's ready to find happiness with somebody. But these are the things that I feel like should be considerations in how quickly you move forward, because your kids are having a hard time with unpacking their own trauma coming out of your marriage.
Here's the other piece of it too. Ysabel asks a very poignant question of, is this whole thing with David, is this like a forever thing? Is it really though? And Christine has to reassure her, yes, oh yeah. And Ysabel is going, okay, but like, what if it's not? Because, I mean, we went from what was the Celtic sign in my sister wife's closet design that she had Christine put together for Cody, eternally together. And now we are on to new beginnings, titty tats with David. So, I mean, we're kind of, what does forever mean? Because it was going to be forever. Ysabel's dealing with a lot of the struggles of, she's an adult child who's old enough to know what her parents are involved in through the divorce process. And she is very aware of what is happening. And that causes concern for, now there's this new relationship. What does that mean?
I took that as Ysabel's last-ditch effort to knock some sense into Christine before she did something that was a real big commitment.
I feel like it was like the cry for help of like, if you're not taking anybody else's opinions into consideration from your children's perspective of how this relationship is proceeding, then is there anything that can be said or done to take that into consideration? I think that's the hurt that's happening here between Christine and her kids, is that she's not considering them.
Yeah, you know what just hit me though? I feel like what's making this so difficult to watch is when you reach that stage of adulthood where suddenly, and this happens, not all people, but a lot of people have experienced this, where all of a sudden you're parenting your parents.
That's something that Aspen is very familiar with. Some of the older kids that we've seen time and time again on the show,
Yeah.
But specifically for Aspen this season, where she's doing a lot of those same reactions too, where I think it's really fast. I don't really recommend it. I don't know if that's a great idea, but they seem happy. Okay, you have to support it, because if you tell her no, that's just going to cause a rift anyway.
Yeah, this does worry me a lot, because now that you've said that, it reminded me of Aspen being the speaker of truth right before the Flagstaff move, where she tried to have the intervention with Christine and say, why are you doing this? This move makes no sense.
And it was Christine just regurgitating all of the bullshit excuses that Cody and Robin came up with, and they started filtering through the adults. And so it was kind of answering some of those questions, but then it still just didn't make any sense, because that was when Christine was reassuring Aspen, 100%, we're moving to Flagstaff. We're staying in Flagstaff. That's the future. That's what it looks like. So to have your parent who is always coming up with these very confident answers and all of these reasons to why things are happening the way they are and how it's going to be like that forever, and then always constantly having the rug pulled out from under you, that's damaging.
Maybe a better answer would be, I hope it's forever.
And I mean, when
some people are going to hate that answer. As soon as it came out of my mouth, there was like someone screaming.
Well, I mean, and now we're kind of comparison between like the moving discussion versus a relationship discussion. I think with the moving discussion, Aspen knew that was bullshit. You're not moving to Flagstaff to spend the rest of your life there. It's not this dream, ideal, perfect location that you're telling yourself it is.
Well, and they've proven repeatedly that they can't stay anywhere
You're
for a long
moving.
period of time.
You always move. You are moving, constantly moving. So I feel like the relationship, maybe that's not a direct one-for-one comparison that we can go with necessarily, but I feel like the sentiment remains the same. When you're going all in on these definitive things of this is what it is, and it's going to be like this forever, that doesn't always line up.
It also makes me feel like maybe the promise of, oh yeah, David's going to be here forever, this is it, is also a get on board because it's not going to be changing type of answer.
Yeah, and I think it might be deflecting, but I feel like the reassurance that would need to happen with that is that Christine and Ysabel, that's a forever relationship. So I think if that's like the confidence that you need to have in that, of like, and no matter how you feel about it or anything, even if you're upset with how fast it's going or what's happening in that relationship with me and David, we're still here. Like, I think that kind of assurance that Ysabel, she's kind of worried about losing her dad. She doesn't want to lose her mom to this guy too, in that kind of way.
Oh,
maybe.
that's a deep thought.
Yeah, I don't know. I just kind of fell into that one. Something happened in there, but that might be another legitimate concern. And that would be another way to reassure of saying, even if things didn't work out with David, we still got each other.
I think that would go a long way for these kids who obviously feel abandoned by one of their parents.
Or it would scare them more because then you're applying that sort of forever reasoning to their relationship, which anytime you've talked about forever things, it has not lasted forever so far. So the track record is not matching up.
Polygamy is a dichotomy of contradictions.
It very much is.
And the biggest contradiction of all is Meri Brown. Meri Carolyn Brown.
Oh, Meri.
So everyone thought that Meri had closed down Lizzie's Heritage Inn because she got some type of big check, potentially from Cody and Robin, and now she's making renovations. This disproved that theory completely because it's just because she's got her friends here. She's got some extra hands. So we're going to be painting the attic of the B&B today.
It's one of the rooms because that's you remember that green carpet.
Oh,
you've seen that.
Of course I remember. And Blair is a real friend, Mare, because he said, you're going to keep this carpet?
The carpet too? Because he knew, we're painting the walls. Okay,
Why
great.
even bother painting?
But it's okay if we get some paint on the carpet, right? Because you're going to be ripping this stuff out, right?
It must have taken him a while to talk her into it. I am hoping with every fiber of my being that they are ripping that carpet out of the B&B right now.
If Blair is a true friend, he would have accidentally, quote,
spilled
unquote,
the paint can.
Accidentally knocked over a paint can onto the carpet. Oh no, what a tragedy.
I think we're just going to have to replace the whole thing now. We're never going to be able to just cut a piece out and match this 1-to-1.
You're going to match this corner where the paint spilled to this carpet that was laid in 1887.
It's been here for 100 years.
I don't think so.
The color has been forever changed.
From the sun that comes through, it's just cooking it.
The impetigo on the feet of all the guests who don't wear socks or slippers.
The spirits that have passed over it and changed it into unknown hues, not from this dimension.
Yeah, was that the haunted room?
They're all haunted. So that's the answer. Yeah, probably. It's one of them.
I don't know what the point of this scene was other than for Meri to express how deeply sad her life is, that she gets on a plane, she flies across the country, nobody bothers to make sure that she made it there alive.
She's really looking forward to the day when anyone will check in on her or wait at the airport for her. So she needs to find herself a Bronwyn. Who can
arrive in costume?
Arrive in a full costume to pick you up from the airport.
Why do I feel like Meri would do that for somebody?
That seems like a Jen and Meri sort of relationship dynamic.
Maybe Jen's the one. I don't know.
Maybe.
I could also see her on a 90-day fiancé.
A last resort trip.
Why not? They'll show up at the airport with a little flag.
She doesn't do online relationships so good. We had a pretty bad run with that.
That's true. Although Just make sure they have a camera.
Skype, yeah, Skype, am I 5,000 years old? A webcam of some kind. Yeah, you need to make sure that you're seeing this person. I don't know, with the AI deepfakes that they have going on now too, I don't know if she'd be able to clock those.
You think she's going to be in a relationship with Garen?
I do.
TikTok Garen?
TikTok Garen from Ireland? I think she would be first in line.
I could see Meri with an Irishman.
Okay. She's looking for her own Mitch. Well, he's Scottish, but I think an Irishman would suit Meri just from the self-deprecating humor standpoint alone.
Cody never really quite understood that.
No, and he admits that in this episode too, that he never knows.
All they did was confuse each other for 30 years because she's also still not really clear on Cody's behavior towards the end of their relationship. They had the promise of rekindling their relationship when they moved to Flagstaff. They went to the Grand Canyon. They had drinks. They toasted to a new future.
A new beginning, right? Like what Christine has with David. That was what Meri and Cody were supposed to be doing.
It wasn't serious because you didn't get titty tats to celebrate it.
You have to have matching tats to lock that in. I think that's the qualification for that. It was just a big bait and switch. The whole Flagstaff move was Cody telling everybody what they wanted to hear so that they would sell their houses in Vegas. That was the whole job that he had set up.
Put your nest egg in my bank account.
Yeah, into Coyote Pass specifically. We're dumping all the resources into this one thing. It was his last-ditch effort to trap everyone in these relationships.
Oh, I believe that, especially because the Biggie Housey was the thing that he was keeping a secret from everyone. How would they sell that thing right now if they had built it on Coyote Pass? First of all, they would have just completed construction.
Barely, maybe. With all of the slowdowns during COVID and the shortage of materials that were available, building materials, forget it.
When she mentioned that he gave her a literal list of things that she needed to do to even get to the point of talking about having a marriage relationship again, and that she checked those fucking boxes off one by one because she is a petty bitch. And she was like, I'm bringing this thing back to you fully completed, signed, sealed, delivered. And then that was when he was done with the relationship.
There were no other hurdles for him to place in Meri's way. She did all of those. She accomplished everything that he told her was impossible to do. She made it happen and got nothing to show for it.
That's why she went into that office and they gave her that release. They were like, same day. She produced the list.
She had the email list or just a jumbling of text messages from Cody.
Receipts, proof, timeline, everything.
It was all there. Yeah, it really was. I was absolutely taken aback when Cody said that he was totally over the catfish incident and that was not a contributing factor to the downfall of their relationship. What?
Well, I think he means now.
Looking back on it now, the catfish incident, it's not as big of a deal. But that was the whole fight that led to Meri telling him, I need a break. I need some space. I need some time. She forced him to leave her house, and then he never came back.
Well, now that I think about it, I actually believe what he's saying. I think that that's true. He latched onto that as an excuse to finally not have to go over to Meri's house. And he was able to blame her for it. He has been tired of her since the day they got married.
Oh, I understand that. But like to say that he was totally over the catfish incident, that is a bold-faced lie. That is not accurate at all. I think he was deeply wounded by everything that happened in the catfish incident, just from the betrayal standpoint and the embarrassment that came along with it and how it poorly reflected on him as a husband because Meri was driven into the arms of another man. 7.
I don't believe, though, that it had anything to do necessarily with, I almost lost this person who I love to a relationship with another person. What you said about being embarrassed about everything being aired publicly, that's what I think was hard for him to deal with.
Oh, it's all ego, baby. Right? That's polygamy for him. I didn't like the terminology that he was using for any of this. There was no fertile bed for love to grow for them. Ugh. Please stop saying things like that.
That's disturbing because there is a perception, a belief that men in polygamy dispose of wives who are no longer able to produce children for them.
Oh, so that has a double entendre meaning for you. You're saying that Mary's bed wasn't fertile?
I think it's a possibility that that's subconsciously what he meant.
Well, and it's hard to be fertile in a bed if you're sleeping in separate beds for 8 years in a relationship too, which we clocked that on their Flagstaff trip when they were just checking out the space and they checked into the hotel room.
I guess she wasn't disappointed, though, when she saw the beds, because we thought that she looked pissed when she saw that there were 2 beds in the room.
Well, I think it was maybe she thought the drought was over. So it was kind of one of those moments where it was time to...
He horned her up the whole way in the car in the drive there.
He was touching her hand, rubbing it affectionately. They were arguing.
Offering her spearmint gum.
They were doing the fighting in the car. That was the first F. She was hoping for that other one.
I was really distracted this entire time because everyone is painting, but they're making zero progress.
I don't know what was going on with those rollers. They were all over the place. I think normally, don't you load up the roller and then you do like an M and then you go back and smooth everything out, right?
Do you see an M?
Or
I
a
see
W?
a W.
Yeah, W? Yeah. Well, maybe it's an M for Meri.
I got worried there because we've disagreed on the color of the dress. Remember the dress?
The blue and black dress?
The white and gold dress?
No, it's blue and black.
We've disagreed on many things like that.
On many useless, just totally ineffectual sorts of
So we
topics.
agreed to W then.
Okay. Well, guess what? A W is an M upside down. So we're both right.
All right.
There you go.
Y for Wyoming. Do you think that they're just using really cheap paint? Is it that the walls are 100 years old and they've had one coat of paint on them, so they're just sucking all of the paint up? Or is it the spirits? They don't like renovations.
Yeah, there's a combination of factors here. I feel like the lights would be flickering or something would be happening if the spirits had a say about not liking this color or not liking the renovations. Maybe that's why Mary's afraid to tear the carpet out, though. You don't want to disturb the spirits in the remodeling process too much. My thought was, how many layers of paint are on this wall? Because you're saying 1. I feel like there's just 85 layers of paint.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure the last time it got painted, the Bonnie William Defoe was there.
And it
the
was
paintbrush.
It was lead paint.
It was a paintbrush made of horsehair.
On there. You take a swipe on the wall, you take a little dip on the tongue there. Just something sweet to get you through. Delicious lead. Don't eat lead paint, guys. Don't do that.
I think we all know that.
Yeah, well, some people don't. So PSA. It's real bad.
We did have to endure a Robin and Cody get together with Meri. Because she's moving, she feels like she needs to tell them that she's moving, but also it's kind of got an ulterior motive because she needs movers.
She needs help. Yeah, so I'm doing them a favor. I'm being respectful in letting them know what's happening because I don't have to let them know because we're divorced now. And so it doesn't really mean anything.
I am going to continue to do those things, though. It's an odd kind of independence, isn't it?
Dependency, independent.
Hire fucking movers.
Really? That's what it comes down to. Is it worth it? Well, or is this Mary's revenge? Because we did see a clip of them moving next week, and it looks like Mary's putting Cody through the ringer. She's doing a couple of things.
she's doing work.
She's throwing it back. Look out.
How did she even get into the house? Did she have snowshoes?
Oh, from the driveway?
Yeah, and I don't mean boots. I mean, we've got tennis rackets strapped to the bottom of her feet so that she can scale. It's not even like a proper walkway. What is the situation going up to this house? When it's covered in snow, it looks treacherous.
Look, we've talked shit about Robin and her children never leaving this house, but if that's what your house looks like 8 months out of the year, I wouldn't fucking leave either.
I'm starting to get it.
Yeah, I will tone it down on my assessment of that situation now.
I'm also starting to understand the hoarding. I'm not leaving here to get something I may need. I'm stocking up on supplies.
Every single thing that you can think of for the next 6 months, I will purchase that today.
I needed to see her just slip a little bit, though. Take advantage of that homeowner's insurance policy.
Yeah, she's going to have to put a claim in here.
You might not get your money any other way. I'm putting that out there for Janelle.
Yeah, Janelle needs to know that she's got other options too. She's going right to the lawyer route. You might be able to accept an invite to come over and talk shop.
Yeah, no more get-togethers at Josephine's attic.
Well, I guess that's why Cody is specifically not meeting up with any of the other wives at the She-Ra Chateau. It has become a liability at this point.
Only the ones who are most unlikely to sue him
Yes.
are able to still come over.
Meri has already signed tons of stuff that says that she'll never sue Cody. I don't know if she knows that. She just signs whatever Cody puts in front of her sometimes. It was in as part of their divorce.
She actually does do that.
She does. I know.
Remember there was a time that she was on a live
The live.
and Cody showed up and he just had paperwork for her to sign?
I need you to sign this stuff. And so she didn't read it, just signed it, and then gave it back. And then people were joking. What was that about? And then she said, oh, those were divorce papers. Just kidding.
Been there, done that.
Yeah, over it.
The kids are super excited that Meri is going to be coming over today. This is a really rare occasion that their mother has made sure is very rare.
Well, yeah, it's they treat it like it's this abnormality. This is very uncommon for them. An outsider entering the home.
It's not even about Meri. It's just any stranger, anyone who doesn't live in this home. It's a very, very exciting occasion. It's like when your dog isn't used to having company.
And so they just freak out if anybody's at the door.
They've just been running around in circles for a while.
Maisie knows that game. She gets very excited. She jumps up on the couch. She jumps off the couch. She jumps up on the couch.
I am enjoying that Meri does take the opportunity to throw Robin under the bus about the not getting together thing.
Oh, yeah, because it would be nice to get together. And Meri tries to get together because she reaches out to Robin. She texts her. She offers up different chances to meet up and do something. And Robin never really responds to any of those offers.
That's quite interesting, coming from a person who was so deeply wounded by Christine saying she didn't want to have a relationship with her children anymore, which was, again, a fictionalized version of what Christine actually said. But that was her interpretation of it. And yet you have someone who wants to continue to have a relationship with your children, and you just ghost them. That is why I still don't understand Robin Brown.
Well, I understand. She says a lot of things that sound good that she's supposed to say.
And then she never follows through with anything.
And then she doesn't do any of that stuff because she doesn't actually want that. She wants what she wants. She also wants to make sure that these kids don't know about the M word. And no, we're not talking about Meri. We're talking about the move.
They're kind of old enough to decipher what that probably means.
At least she didn't spell it out, the M-O-V-E. And it's at that point.
Saul can probably spell 4-letter words.
Probably. Yes, I would guess. But Robin doesn't even want to have her kids hear that word because all of their moves have been so traumatic.
Well, and why would that devastate them? If they barely know Meri anymore.
They don't see her on a regular basis.
She doesn't even come over for holidays at this point. Why would that make them so upset that she's going to be moving somewhere? I think Robin creates a lot of things in her head that her kids actually don't give two fucks about.
Yeah, she builds it up as they will never recover from this. Brianna's here. She's in high school. Mary's moving away. Okay. I don't know. Brianna's going to be able to drive soon. She'd probably be able to go to Utah and visit her if she really wanted to. She's never fucking gonna. But yeah, like it's not the end of the world. It's not like she's taking a covered wagon and going out west and we don't know where she's ending up. There's ways to stay in touch with people now.
And for the limited amount of interaction that you have with her to begin with, what does it matter if she lives a few hours away in Parowan? Because you'll see her just as much if you made the effort to.
Now it's going to be harder.
They'll just make her drive there.
Well, yeah, they'll still invite her to everything at their house because that's where everything takes place. That's the only place that Cody's comfortable.
It's the center of the family.
As it was always meant to be in Robin's mind, yeah.
Is that part of Cody's dream too? Like having the kids all want to come back? It's having the ex-wives want to come back?
They're just going to get lumped in with, that fantasy of his because that, at this point, is definitely not going to happen.
The real bullshit of this entire thing is that they act taken aback by the fact that Mary's moving so quickly with getting out of Flagstaff.
Yeah, why so soon? Why the rush, Mare?
Why are you blindsiding us like this?
And Mary's like, you've been telling me for 10 years to get the fuck out. What do you mean so fast? This has been dragging on for a decade.
Also, they had a conversation not too long ago when she had to renew her lease. And at that point, she was debating where she was going to go. Was that last season with the barn dominium?
I think it was the barndominium chat, and then she was talking a little bit about some of that stuff at the picnic table breakup on Coyote Pass too.
We've been talking about moving for a long time.
She's been floating the idea to get you guys used to it and prepared to hear that. Because for Robin, maybe that's what it is. Robin is projecting this end of the world scenario because if her kids find out that Meri's moving to Parowan, that will be way too much for them to handle. I don't think that's accurate because the kids ultimately don't really care. I mean, Ari gets a little bit sad about it. Oh, Meri's moving away. Okay, bummer, I guess. Maybe it's Robin. It's her concern. That's her end of the world, is if Meri's moving away, finances are gone, it's over.
It makes you question, what is their attachment to Meri? They don't seem to enjoy having her come around. They don't go out of their way to spend time with her. You're divorced at this point. So why is it that you just find comfort in knowing that she is a few miles across town eating dinner alone in her dining room?
Alone and miserable. Yeah, like why is that reassuring for you?
The only thing that I can think of, aside from the money.
Well, yeah, money's a big one.
Hoping that they could somehow talk her into filming with them when it's needed so that they could create this false illusion of there's actually a solid split down the middle in this family with Christine and Janelle on one side and them on the other, even though Meri has made it very clear she doesn't feel like she's in either of those camps.
Yeah, well, I mean, she is included in the Robin and Cody camp, but definitely not a part of it.
It just makes me wonder, is it that now they really have no one around them who they feel like you can maybe call in an emergency? Like, wasn't that one of the drawbacks of moving to Flagstaff, that they have no friends, no family around them? And now it's like you really are isolated in this place where people have left one by one, and now you're just here in this house alone.
Aspen pointed that out in 2019.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, that was a big part of her questioning and trying to get Christine to really think about the move to Flagstaff and if that was a good decision.
Christine's kids all have the gift.
Aspen's was forced upon her. I think there are some other ones that have the gift, but Aspen's was a survival tactic.
Now that they got the formalities of talking about the actual move out of the way, Meri's ready to get to logistics. She's got dates. She's got things to pack. Are you free?
I need help moving. I need you to drive the truck. Have you been scheduled to work? Should have been the other question, because that was always his excuse when they were working on the moving things into the B&B. Cody could not assist because he's been scheduled to work, even though he runs his own business, and he is unavailable to assist you with whatever request it is that you're making.
She had a good point. She never got alimony when they got divorced the first time. She's just asking for a small severance package.
And this is where Cody still can't determine, is Meri being passive-aggressive? Is she being aggressive-aggressive? Or is she just joking? He can't get a read on this.
I think she was joking.
Is that the package she really wants? Oh,
I think next episode, we see it's clear that is not the one that she was after.
She might, try to make some waves on her way out here.
After embarrassing someone on reality television for close to a decade, telling everyone publicly that you no longer want anything to do with them anymore without giving them the opportunity to have heard that from your mouth first, one-on-one, the least you could do is probably help them pack their things and move them to their next location.
And if Cody's going to do anything, we know he's going to do the least he can do. So...
And he does genuinely enjoy moving.
Oh, he loves a good move. Yeah. I think he loves being in charge of a move, even though they always go to shit when he's in charge of them. But he does get to bust out the moving gloves, the trusty moving denims.
I will lovingly wrap your knickknacks in bubble wrap.
Bubble paper.
Bubble paper.
Yeah.
I knew you were going to correct it. I'm not really sure, though. Are the kids the ones who are the most devastated about this?
No,
or
it's Robin.
I think it's Cody.
Oh, well, Cody...
He's having regrets.
Yeah, because maybe Robin does kind of shut down a little bit. She was nervous about telling the kids, and then the kids didn't really seem to be that affected by it. They did understand what she was saying, but there was just no real reaction to it. So maybe that's when Robin calmed down, because it wasn't the end of the world thing of some damaging event that was going to happen to her kids here by hearing this terrible news about the M word.
I was surprised that Meri was the one who wanted to tell the kids, because as soon as I heard Robin say, I'll call them up so you can tell them, I thought that was her way of getting out of having to be the one to deliver the bad news to them.
It seems like something that she would pawn off. Yeah, that she doesn't want to have that reflect poorly on her.
Maybe it just happily worked out that Meri wanted to be the one to tell them, because I don't think Robin wants to ever communicate yucky things to them. When are we going to see Meri again? The kids are probably thinking it, but Cody's really the one wondering.
Yeah, I think he needs to know. You coming back for Thanksgiving or Christmas or any of those times where it's really part of the holiday tradition now? I do prefer your turkey.
Is he finally going to admit it?
I don't think so. He's just having mixed emotions because he has a nostalgic heart.
Oh.
That's what it is.
It's not the warm, juicy, succulent turkey that he misses.
So moist. That's the M word that Robin didn't want to talk about. I do think that there was a moment where this did finally click for Robin, though, where she's realizing where her relationship with Cody was better in plural marriage when everything else was better and functional.
When he had Meri to blame for everything?
Yes, when he had scapegoats, that worked out a lot better. And now it's really rough being a monogamous woman in a relationship with Cody. Yeah, we know.
She's still trying to latch on to this whole, I kind of just came to the realization that Meri couldn't live her life because she was always waiting on Cody. And yet Robin is the one who convinced Cody to perpetrate that on Meri.
Oh, she was still the one arguing when Cody and Meri had come to the conclusion and reached the finality of their relationship on the picnic table discussion at Coyote Pass. Robin was still begging Meri to stick around. Please don't leave. Please don't end this. Please don't call it quits.
Well, also the part where she mentions that Meri was the only one who didn't campaign against her, that made me wonder, again, what are the motives for keeping Meri around? Is it that Meri tends to defend Robin on camera, and that now if she's gone and there's no relationship anymore, will she feel compelled to come to Cody and Robin's defense? Or is it going to turn into Christine and Janelle and the kids launching accusations at them, and they're the only ones to defend themselves?
Yeah, I don't think Robin can go toe-to-toe when there are multiple people who have facts to explain to her and history and timeline. Again, all of that adds up. And so usually she had Meri in a delusional place enough where she was kind of removed from that and would still just defend Robin and Cody in some ways. Because we saw it even last week in Meri's conversation with Janelle, where Janelle is getting suspicious, a little suspicious, about Cody trying to screw them out of this land, or out of the money at least, the value of the land. And Meri is questioning that concern, undercutting it. I think we'd have each other's backs.
No.
You think? Because I don't think. I think it's time to get concerned, Meri.
My alarm bells went off when Robin used the word campaigning. That felt like perhaps they've done some research on narcissism themselves, and that they are now convinced that there are flying monkeys campaigning against Robin.
No, it felt like what rang in my mind was Maddie's podcast from last week about boundaries on the authentic society. And she was talking about how there's a lot of people who use therapy terminology now, and it's not always used accurately. Even though, ironically, then they were talking about boundaries, and then they didn't really define that accurately either. So that's kind of the plot twist, I suppose, in some ways. But that was what popped into my head, was hearing Robin say campaigning. Made me think maybe that's some therapy speak, that you just take little parts that serve you And then you get to point that out for everybody else's behavior, but never take any accountability for your own.
From the 2 therapy sessions that she ever attended?
Partially, yeah, because baby Saul kept her up late one night or something happened and she wasn't able to attend the other one.
Oh, it is the time we have all been waiting for. The proposal heard round the world.
For the proposal of a lifetime. It's car confessions in an ATV. Remember when Christine was doing car confessions?
She was very into them.
That was like a single life Christine thing, because now we haven't seen those in a while, right?
No, I feel like I've seen this car confession. I remember truly biting David's hand.
Yeah, that's hard to forget.
Just being mauled.
Maybe that's just a regular thing then. So has that happened multiple times where it truly just bites David's hand?
I gotta say, it could have been in another vehicle.
This was an all-terrain vehicle, an ATV. They were out in the middle of nowhere in the desert in Moab.
Normally they tell you to keep your hands inside the vehicle at all times.
Well, sometimes, yeah. If you have
Let's not do that while
someone biting your
Truly's
hand,
there.
yeah, maybe you're gonna have to hang out the emergency exit here. But we're taking this scary trail up to this beautiful spot, and we know what's coming. We know what's happening.
Did Truly get bounced out of the ATV at some point?
Well, there was like another set of ATVs, so I don't know who else was with them, but maybe Truly was just hanging out with them in the back there.
Because David and Christine walk out into this beautiful overlook. And then we get 2 very different stories as to what happens from there.
So, yeah, we do have footage of what was actually said, what David said. What Christine heard and what her assessment of what David said was, this is my favorite place in all of the world, and you're my favorite person to be with. Didn't see any of that. So I don't know if they cut around that because Christine already explained that, or if that's just what she heard in her head.
Well, why not show what would have been the most romantic part of the proposal? Because instead, didn't he start it by saying, well, you know how we've been talking about getting married?
I'll tell you what he said. David said, this is word for word what he said in this engagement proposal. So, you know how we talk about getting married? All the good times we've had so far? Well, I'd like to marry you. Would you like to marry me? You're the only one for me. You're special. You're it. I hope this is okay, because this is a beautiful place.
You're my favorite view.
You're my favorite view was basically the assessment there. I thought it was interesting. He was apologizing that, I'm sorry, not all of your kids were here. So if that was something that they had talked about where she wanted all of her kids involved, I think that's kind of risky. Maybe all of her kids would be involved if it was more of a secure relationship that had lasted for longer than a fortnight.
Okay, I think it's better that he proposed in a way that she hadn't previously discussed with him, because they went and they picked the ring out together. That's not a surprise.
I don't think you were going to get all those kids on board. I don't think you're going to get them involved. Truly just bit your hand. She's trying to prevent you from actively being able to propose.
Trying to bite your ring finger off.
Yes. Trying to prevent
this wedding.
Any way that she can.
Well, David may have moved slowly with the kissing, but not with everything else. Interpret that how you will.
Yeah, I wasn't ready for all that.
Well, thank God we just don't have to listen to them talk about wanting to get married anymore.
Well, no, now it's going to shift into the rabid excitement of wedding planning officially now.
I wasn't excited about the idea of watching Christine shop for her dress, but now I am looking forward to seeing the rationale that went behind the choice. And I'm sure we're going to get to see the Jean-Benet Ramsey pajamas.
Yes.
The nightgown.
The Civil War sleeping bag.
We're going to get to see many, many shots of that. I think that's probably the next wedding thing we have to look forward to.
Yeah, because for the next episode, Christine and David are announcing their engagement to her kids. They're showing the video, and it seems like everybody already knew at this point because we have some terrible acting from Peyton.
I feel like she posted it on Instagram 2 seconds after they got engaged.
Immediately, yeah. Or it was in a group text out to people, even though nobody could hear David. So they didn't actually know what he was saying until they saw it with the subtitles on the TV.
Because didn't they say this is March? It's mid-March that they get engaged. She announced it in early April, if I'm remembering correctly. So they enjoyed it for maybe a couple weeks privately with the kids and everything.
But the real story next episode is going to be Meri and Cody moving.
Look, I'm just putting it out there. There are people who are divorced, no longer married, who once in a while they get together and they enjoy the interior of their bedroom.
Well, yeah, the favorite ex is about to be the favorite sex. Mary's looking to throw that thing back.
I think Cody was looking into it.
He was getting nervous. Robin was there, though, so I think that might have been why he was getting nervous, because I don't feel like Robin is going to think this is funny.
I guess we'll see.
I think she's going to take a lot of this personally, because Robin and Cody are devastated, terribly sad, but Mary's not sad. This is a happy day for her.
Before you guys go, just a few quick announcements to listen to.
If you like what you're hearing here, be sure to drop a review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. We also have our other podcast, Surviving Reality, where we're recapping Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, getting new episodes every Friday. But if you sign up on the Patreon over at patreon.com/survivingpod, you get all of our episodes ad-free and early.
The mid-season trailer dropped for Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, and it is popping off from here.
It's cuckoo bananas.
I have to say, it's the best Housewives show in the franchise that's on right now. And the trailer for the back half of the season made the beginning look slow.
So if you're still sleeping on that one, you got to get over there real quick.
Also, it's time to start shopping for the holidays. Maybe you have always dreamed of owning your own cowboy boot lamp.
That dream is now a reality. Swing by our Etsy shop. You can find the link in our episode description. It's over on our Beacons page.
We've got the Janelle Cowboy boot lamp in the form of a pillow. We've got some mini bike t-shirts with Dayton Aurora Brianna.
Addressed specifically to them with some Christmas light fashionings or Joseph Smith's birthday celebrations, however you decide to celebrate.
And right now, everything in the shop is on sale. If you spend $60 or more, you get 20% off. So be sure to head over there if you're interested in shopping. And also, you can gift Patreon memberships to people. So if you have podcasts that you're listening to, creators who are on Patreon, whose content you want to share with your family, friends, maybe you have a coworker who you like enough to buy a gift. Probably not.
Maybe you're doing a Yankee swap at work. Yankee swap.
Okay, I highly suggest the boot lamp pillow for the Yankee swap.
Yeah, you don't need to worry about a Patreon membership for that. You can just get the boot lamp pillow, and then that speaks volumes in and of itself.
It is a piece of artwork. I feel like we would find it in Bronwyn's house.
Maybe not. If it was made of more metal and just unstructured, and then maybe Robin would be into it too if we go sterling silver, maybe for next year.
Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next week.